wanted to go live just to give people a chance to come in. And yeah, let me set things up. We got some music also, yes, in the background. Okay, I'm all set up. Let's go, let's do this. It's gonna start raining soon. Pia says, hey Chip, you're unstoppable. Pia, I can't stop, it's true. I just can't. It's But yeah. Hey Gray Sky Vegan. Actually, from yesterday's debate, I got one thing clearly. The new excuse that a lot of people are bringing. You guys want to try a social experiment?
Yeah, sure.
Are you okay being live for my YouTube channel?
Okay.
What's your name?
Juliano.
Juliano, I'm Chip. Nice to meet you. Where are you from?
Nice to meet you. Brazil.
Brazil. Okay. So Juliano, I'm an animal rights activist. I fight for the rights of animals. Do you think animals deserve rights?
For sure.
What rights do animals deserve?
Almost the same as us.
Almost the same as us. So
Yeah.
would you agree that animals deserve the right to their own life?
Sure.
Do you consume animal products?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so I'm not singling you out on this one, but do you think that maybe this idea of consuming animal products goes directly against the idea that animals should have rights?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Do you think you can be healthy, survive, thrive, all of it on a plant-based diet?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, what is holding you back from, respecting the rights of animals?
I know. Yeah. I think for me something cultural. From where I come from Brazil. We ate a lot of barbecue.
Yeah.
It's the south of Brazil, but I don't really need to eat meat every day, so I really consider it. So that I just need to do it.
Yeah, that's true. And let me put it this way, because why is it important for animals to have rights? Like if I were to ask you, why is it important for a human being to have the right to live? Why do you think the same reason would apply to animals?
Yes. Sure.
And that's because they're an individual, right?
Yeah.
They have an experience of the world, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So then, in that sense, do you think that, let's say you consume one animal product per month, let's just put it hypothetically, do you think to that one animal that dies for you, is it still fair for them that happens to them? No, it's not, right? Yeah, so at the end of the day, what matters is that we stop this. Of course, there can be steps along the way, but at the end of the day, if we want to respect animals, if we don't want to violate their rights, we should at least stop consuming them, correct?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's something that I need to evolve in myself, but I agree with you.
Okay, well, I'm vegan. Do you have any questions for me?
Not really, because my girlfriend is also vegan.
Oh, okay.
So I understand the culture and everything.
What does it mean to be vegan to you?
I think it's a decision for your life and for the life of everybody, actually, because you contribute with the planet and also with the animals, for sure. So yeah.
So being vegan, by the way, is strictly about the animals. It's like what feminism is to women, veganism is to animals.
No.
That's the definition. Like, sure, some people use it in a lot of other ways because there's a plant-based diet that obviously benefits the environment, that benefits your health. Some people say, I'm vegan for health or I'm vegan for environment.
Also,
But in reality, veganism is strictly for the animals.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to be clear. Because when you see people, for example, online saying I'm no longer vegan or stuff, they usually weren't vegan in the first place. They were just like plant-based or stuff like that. Because I think like when the motivation is about not exploiting this innocent individual, it's much bigger motivation to do it and to continue doing it. See what I mean?
Okay. Yeah. Sure. It's also something political, I think, because
What is political about it?
you are taking some values with deal that you want to share with everybody.
Yeah.
And for sure, you want everybody to be vegan as well because
Because I want to respect animals.
yes, so
Yeah.
it's something political, I think.
It's as much political as it is to respect human rights, right?
Yeah,
At the end
yeah.
of the day. If you think that's political, sure, then animal rights is also political.
Yeah.
To me, I think like while we can politicize it and make areas where one side of it says, yes, we should do this, and one side says, no, we shouldn't do this. I think at the end of the day, just like it is with human rights, we should all unite and say, let's just give them rights. And what comes after, we can disagree with it, right? Like how we handle all of it, we can disagree on it. But the fact that they need rights, we can all agree on that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Juliano,
Yes, yes.
I appreciate you. I'm Chip.
Thank you.
Let me give you a card before you go.
Okay.
I appreciate you having this conversation with me. Dominion, or the most important speech you'll ever hear. If you scan this QR code, they both appear on top. Can you promise me you'll watch one of these two videos?
For sure, yeah.
Just to know what animal agriculture does to animals.
Okay.
And if you want to decide that you don't want to be part of any of it, there's a thing there called Challenge 22. They hook you up with a nutritionist, send you recipes every day, and they help you go plant-based for free.
It's very nice. Congratulations for your work.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one. Cheers. Hey Navia. Hello Martin.
Can we talk to you?
Yeah, sure. Are you okay being live for my YouTube channel?
Oh yeah, it's YouTube?
Yeah, it's YouTube.
Here.
All three of you the same.
No, I'm not doing it by myself. Come with me.
Okay.
Right.
Those all three.
Alright, Tanner's up first.
Okay.
I'm the only one in the frame.
Where are you guys from?
Washington.
Washington.
America.
Okay.
US, yeah.
US. Okay. Okay. US. Love it. Okay. So then for US, I'll ask you something else.
Okay.
What's your stance on oppression? Is oppression okay?
Well, what's the case scenario for the oppression?
Let's say there's an individual with power who wants to oppress an individual without power.
Well, it depends on why the person in power is wanting to oppress the person with less.
They benefit from it.
It just it obviously depends like how bad the oppression goes and like what the benefit actually is. Like I don't know what's like a case scenario.
So let me be clear. Oppression means cruel and unjust treatment, right?
Yeah.
So whatever it is cruel to do, like for example, when women didn't have rights, that was a form of oppression.
Yeah.
Or when people were enslaved because of the race that they were, that was a form of oppression also, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Like, is any of this ever justified?
I don't have an exact case when it could be justified, but I feel like there definitely was some instances where it would has a positively impact like the world somehow, but even like those
Oppression can definitely positive impact,
like exactly.
impact the world positively. Like slavery definitely can help the economy, right? But do you think that you can?
Overall, no.
But you can. Do you think that you can justify oppressing somebody for the benefit of the world?
No.
Usually not, no.
No, right? So
No.
the ends don't justify the means, right?
No.
Okay. So then,
Simple answer.
yeah, there you go. So should the powerful have the right to oppress the powerless?
Question. Have they right?
I mean, I really think that even if you don't think that that's how things should be, that's just how they are.
That what?
That's just how the world works.
Sure, but we're here talking about not how the world works. We all know there's shit happening in the world. We're talking about how the world should be, okay? So do you think that the powerful should have the right to oppress the powerless?
No.
Yeah, probably not. I would say overall.
Probably not, right? So what if the powerless are intellectually challenged and don't realize that they're oppressed?
That's a whole different
worse.
thing.
Say it again?
It's even worse.
It's even worse, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But what if they belong to a different biological group? Like, take for instance, the individual who's oppressing is a man and they want to oppress women. They belong to a different sex. Is that justified?
No.
No.
No. Okay. So then we come back to why I'm here. Oppressing of animals. Should we oppress animals?
No.
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 For the same reason, we have power over them, but we shouldn't be oppressing them, right?
Definitely not.
But do you think that when we consume animal products or we buy leather or we go to zoos or stuff like that, are we essentially paying for oppression?
I think at zoos, yes.
Yeah.
Animal products, I'm indifferent on, but definitely at zoos and areas
Wait,
where they're.
animal products, why not? Like, we're essentially bringing them to life only to slaughter them for something that we don't need. Is
Yeah,
that not
slaughterhouses
oppression?
are terrible. I don't even know. That's a hard question. I mean.
So are you vegan?
Yeah, I am.
Are you promoting like
Yeah, so do you know what being vegan is?
No.
is it? I
know me,
you-
right?
no meat, and then can you eat fish? No, that's pescatarian.
So vegan means it's a moral position of respecting animals' rights. It's a way of saying animals deserve the right to live, so I'm not gonna fuck with their right to live just
Yeah.
because I want to eat their flesh, or just because I want them to be impregnated so I can steal their milk or something, right? Like it's just respecting their basic right to live. That's what it is. As a consequence, we don't eat their flesh. We don't consume any animal products. We don't go to zoos, or we don't wear leather, because all of these are products that come out of violating animals' rights or oppressing them.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
How
So
do
what do you eat on a day-to-day basis?
On a day-to-day basis? Same thing you eat, probably, just the vegan version of it.
So do you have eggs?
No, I don't have eggs, because
So-
also eggs is they're quite problematic a lot of times. Like there's very few scenarios where you could say that eggs have something there, but even in those cases, it's
What about your thoughts on like having animals, like you have a farm yourself and like
Yeah.
properly doing it?
what's properly doing it.
Well, like if you have like a big chicken farm, you're just getting like some of their eggs, but letting them like freely roam and all that.
What kind of chickens for eggs?
Yeah, chickens for eggs.
So the thing is, chickens for eggs, they come from there's different species of chickens, right? The broiler chickens are the ones that we use for meat, and the ones for eggs are a different species of chickens. So this species of chickens that we use for eggs, they come usually from a place called a hatchery. It's where chickens come out of the eggs. So obviously when an egg hatches, there's a 50-50 chance that they'll either be male or female. If they're female, they can go to where you buy them in your backyard, and maybe you take good care of them. They can go to large farms, or they can go to small farms. It doesn't really matter where they go. But if they're born male, they just basically put them up in a grinder. They grind them up alive on their first day of life, because they're a different species. They don't produce that much meat, and they're useless to them. So essentially, they don't even want to feed them so that they can grow. So the easiest thing to do is they kill them on their first day of life. The most common method is grinding them up alive, but the second most common is gassing them to death, or asphyxiating, like they put them in a bag and asphyxiate them. Yeah, so when you buy chickens like that, you're essentially supporting the system also. But if let's say you get a rescue chicken or something, you don't pay for it, or you rescue a chicken and you have them in your backyard, you feed them nicely. You don't take the eggs for your benefit, but for their benefit, then I would have no problem with you consuming some eggs. And if you don't kill them at the end of their life, when they no longer produce eggs, because farmers also kill them when they no longer produce enough eggs. So
Yeah.
So do you eat tofu?
I do, yeah.
So then,
Almost daily.
What do you think about the like land devastation that comes with tofu and lentil farming?
With soy, you mean?
Yeah. So
Yeah. So most of the soy that we grow for food, we grow to feed the animals, actually. So a lot of the times we forget that. So any devastation that you think crop agriculture for plant-based products produces is monumentally increased for animal-based products, because animals are fed considerably more plants than we would otherwise eat. Like take for instance in the US, soy and corn are grown, like I think 80% of the soy and corn that are grown in the US are grown for the animals specifically. So that means if we would eat the soy ourselves, we would get more protein, more calories, and we would use less land. So there would be less deforestation, less eutrophication, and less water usage also. But at the end of the day, I think like all of these are important factors, as you say, but I think when it comes to the rights of individuals, we should put them first before we even talk about the environment. Because take for instance, it would obviously be good for the environment to kill half the human population, because then we would have less consumerism, but we would never adopt that because we want to respect those rights of those humans. So in that same manner, I would say that the rights of animals should come before the environment, because they're individuals just like we are. They feel, they emote, they think, so we should not be using them as objects or treating them like objects just because we want to.
Yeah.
Like, do you guys think you can survive and thrive on a plant-based diet?
More difficult, for sure.
I think
Especially-
you get more nutrients from eating meat personally.
What nutrients do you get from meat?
There's more amino acids in the proteins from animals rather than plant-based. So I think those amino acids would tend to make you healthier and have a high quality of protein to support you.
All 9 essential amino acids are found in all plants in varying amounts. But if you want complete protein, there's several sources of plant protein that are complete. But even if they're incomplete, you can mix it. Like take for instance, pea is incomplete, but if you mix it with brown rice, it's complete. So you see what I mean? Like if you're gonna be eating throughout your day normally and having decent meat, like if you only eat tofu your whole day, you're gonna have an issue. Just like if you only eat meat your whole day, you're gonna have issues and deficiencies. But if you eat a varied diet, doesn't matter if it's plant-based or animal-based, you can make it very healthy also. So it doesn't, you don't really need anything from meat. I'm a certified nutritionist, by the way. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you often find a lot of struggles like going out to eat, like for a lot of places not being accommodated?
No, not really. I don't really. I mean, everything's expensive, but it's not because they're vegan. It's just because everything's expensive these days. That's a different thing. But I don't like almost everywhere here. There's an alternative. I think there's very few places where there's no alternative. And generally, my friends want to accommodate me, and we go to nice vegan restaurants. The food is delicious, and they're like, why not?
Yeah. Have you been vegan your whole life?
No, I was vegan. I started being vegan 4 years ago. I was vegetarian for like 8 years before that. And when I realized what they do to dairy cows, how they forcefully inseminate and steal their babies, I used to think that doesn't happen here because if you go outside of Amsterdam, it's just green fields with beautiful cows. You're like, it can't possibly be that bad. But then you look into it and it's exactly the same shit. Exactly the same shit everywhere. They literally kill them as babies, inseminate them repeatedly, and kill them whenever they want. It's like like I think like if you ask a farmer, would you rather that this animal would not be sentient? Every single farmer would say yes, because the fact that they are sentient, the fact that they are individuals, is a problem for them. They don't want to get attached to them. They don't like that they suffer. They don't like any of it. But you know, all of us pay for it, and therefore they have to do it. So how do you guys feel about it? Do you feel like you have some responsibility in the matter for this?
Yeah, I would say more responsibility than before I walked into this for sure.
Yeah. So what do you want to do with this responsibility? Do you want to continue participating in this system of oppression, or do you want to, stand before everybody else and say no? Because obviously 97% of the population participates in this. But there's 3% of people who are standing up and saying no, and more people are standing up and saying no. So just like during slavery times, most people were for slavery. Well, not most people were for slavery, but it was pretty rampant in a lot of places. There were people standing up and being on the right side of history. And I do fully believe that this is going to end. So it's merely a question that you got to ask yourself, which side of it do you want to be on? Do you want to be on the side that continues supporting it, or do you want to be on the side that fights against it? And when I say fights against it, I don't mean being on the street like me. That would be cool. But I strictly mean by not supporting this other side.
Yeah. How do you think it's going to end?
Well, I don't think it's going to end because of animal rights. I don't think people care that much about animal rights, just like people don't generally care about human rights. I think it's going to end because animal agriculture is highly inefficient. We have to grow a lot of plants to feed these animals. Out of those animals, a lot of them we don't eat. So it's like it's just the most inefficient thing. And they carry a lot of zoonotic diseases. Hence why H5N1 is rampant in US right now, and they killed off millions of chickens, and cows are now like there's avian flu in the milk now, right? Yeah. So yeah, that's the reason why it will end, because it's inefficient.
How long do you think that will be until then?
Hundreds of years, maybe 200. Not in my lifetime. But I don't know, maybe we'll be surprised. It depends on people like you who want to make differences.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, let me give you guys some cards. Give you this card. I just want you one thing to do, okay? Because we only had the conversation. I didn't want to hold you too much responsible. But if you scan this QR code, there's a thing there called either Dominion or the most important speech you'll ever hear. Just give that a watch to know what animal agriculture does. Get informed, and that's you decide what you want to do with that going forward, okay? Because I can't police you. Just to know what it is, because you might not want to be part of it. They will tell you whatever you want to hear so that you buy their products. But I don't have any financial incentive in the game, okay?
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Chip. Griffin. Tanner. Chase.
All right.
Griffin, Tanner, Chase.
Yes.
Guys, go vegan. We gotta respect animals, okay? Cheers. Axel, thank you so much. In an hour for the Discord, we are going to be doing an event that pets shouldn't exist, but here's something to share some love. Axel, thank you so much. Okay, so I don't know, it might start raining here. I saw that there was a rain. Give me 1 second, everybody. I'll have to check the rain. The rain won't be that bad. I'm actually happy that I came because the rain looked far worse, but it's not that bad. Looks like rain, says Martin. Yeah. Yeah, it's not gonna be that bad though. It's okay. It's okay. We'll survive. We're not made of sugar. That's what the Dutch say. And maybe if I have an umbrella, people will be like, oh shit, I gotta cover under the rain, so I'm gonna come and speak to this guy. Can someone explain how I can buy membership or do a super chat, says Alexander. Alexander, thank you so much if you want to do that. Don't feel obliged to do that. How can you do that? There should be a button that says join. That's usually how you do it. You guys want to have a conversation with me? Hi.
I'm streaming.
Are you okay being live for my YouTube channel?
I'm doing social experiment. Come talk to me.
Are you okay being live for my YouTube channel?
Yes.
Then come
Hello.
and what's your name?
Christopher.
Christoph, where are you from?
Czech Republic.
Czech Republic. So Christoph, I'm an animal rights activist. I fight for the rights of animals.
Oh, okay.
Do you think animals deserve rights?
I love animals.
You love animals.
Animals,
So they
yes.
deserve rights, correct?
Yes.
What rights do they deserve?
Oh shit. That's my friends. They know the answers. Ask
Okay.
them.
Are
Ask
you
them.
guys okay being live on my YouTube channel?
Yes,
Okay, he's left.
really good. It's really good.
Okay.
What's up? What's up? I'm
Okay.
Helenecký Tuk from Czech Republic. What's up?
Okay, so I'm an animal rights activist. I was telling your friend here, I'm an animal rights activist. I fight for animal rights. What rights do you think animals deserve?
Yes.
What rights do you think they deserve?
Yes.
Yes? Do you
Yes,
think
sir.
they deserve the life to live?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you think that when you buy animal products, you are infringing on their right to live?
But chicken is really good.
But are you infringing on their right to live?
No.
No? So do you think that when you buy chicken, as you said, their flesh, was that chicken not killed for that?
Van Gogh is really good artist.
Hello.
Do you know at what age they're killed at? Chickens?
No.
So they can live 10 years. Give a rough estimate, what age do you think they're killed at?
Yes.
What?
They're killed at 42 days.
40
2 days.
today?
42 days.
2 days.
42 days.
I'm so fucking high right now.
Okay. Well, if you're high, let me just give you a card because it's gonna start raining soon, and I feel like whenever I ask you a question, you just answer with yes. So let me ask you this: are you gonna be vegan and stop abusing animals?
Right now?
Yes.
I don't know, man.
You don't know.
But you are really impressive with it.
I'm just like the whole point of this is to get people to think a little bit because we live in this world where we don't see what's happening to animals. We just go into a supermarket, we buy meat, we buy all these products.
I grow my own chickens.
You grow your own chickens, and
And
do
I
you
kill
kill
it
them
by
yourself?
myself.
Is that good?
Yes.
Knowing that you don't need to do any of it, is that fair towards the chickens?
I need to live like.
But you don't need to consume animal products. Please keep that away. Please keep that away.
What should I like replace it with?
What should you replace it with? Well, there's tofu, there's soy chunks, there's several.
But do you know that when you grow soya, the farming it kill like 30,000 bees and stuff? You know that?
No, it doesn't kill 30,000 bees. So the soy production is indeed, it can be harmful. It is not that harmful as people make it out to be. But the reality is that most of the soy that we grow for food, we grow to feed the animals in animal agriculture. So maybe you don't feed soy to your chickens, you feed them corn, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Yes, so for the corn, the same
More
things.
wheat.
Wheat. So for the wheat, the same thing happens. It's crop agriculture, right?
It's
Some animals
really
are
good.
killed. And at the end of the day, just if you consider regular physics, the energy that you give to those chickens, so the amount of calories that you give to them, cannot possibly be the amount of calories that you get back.
Okay.
See what I mean? So if you were to be eating the wheat yourself or to be eating soy yourself, you would be getting more calories for less crop production or anything.
I would consider that.
Let me give you a card before you go, because I feel like these guys are pretty high all over. They're high as shit.
I'm not, bro.
I'll give you a card. Maybe you have your chickens, but I urge you to watch the most important speech you'll ever hear. You'll enjoy it. It's just a guy speaking like we spoke now, and kind of talks maybe also about this. Okay? What's your name?
Vojta.
Vojta. You're awesome, Vojta. I appreciate you for having a conversation with me. Have a good one. Cheers. But it's starting to rain, but we have an umbrella. Those guys were really, really high, weren't they? Okay. Where do people get all this information about growing soy? Yeah, like this guy was saying that we're killing 60,000 bees or something, right? I don't know where they get that. I don't know how to hold both. I guess I won't hold the sign. I'll just stay with the umbrella and the sign, maybe. You guys are in the rain, by the way. Well, that's okay because the phone is waterproof. Doesn't soy cause hormonal imbalance in men? No, it does not. There's actually a study called, I forgot the name of the study, but I'm sure that anybody who's a moderator in the stream can paste the study about soy. It does not affect free-flowing testosterone in any way, no. Or any other hormonal indicator. There's studies on that now. Chip, keep your rain there. I don't want it, says Tone. I mean, Tone, you're in UK, are you not? I think it's gonna be raining there. This is Chip's favorite spot. It's not my favorite spot. It's a good spot, but it's not my favorite spot, no. Hey, Benji. Benji, do you have the study regarding soy isoflavones and the impact that it has on free-flowing testosterone on men? There is a study, I think the effect of soy isoflavones on ... I think that's how it's called. This is an interesting idea. You keep people dry at the price that you destroy their moral logic. Hi, you guys want to try the social experiment?
Yeah, sure.
Are you okay being live for my YouTube channel?
Yeah, sure.
You want to come under this umbrella?
Yeah.
Okay, love it. What are your names?
Alex. Asia.
I'm Chip. I'll just give you this
Hello,
and this
hi.
because I don't have any more hands left. Alex and Asia, where are you from?
From Peru, Italy.
Peru and Italy. Okay, so I'm an animal rights activist. I fight for the rights of animals.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Do you think animals deserve rights?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Okay.
But you already said nice. Why did you say nice if you don't think animals deserve rights?
No, I don't think that they don't deserve rights. I think it's a 50-50 debate thing to do. It's like, for example, there are people say that hey, you shouldn't eat animals because they might feel something.
Yeah.
And then you have the other side that says that's part of nature. Like they have,
Can you
yeah,
come
sure.
with-
That they have to, like, it's part of our community too. That we as a humans have to somehow kill them so we can eat and get protein and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So you have both sides, and about the rights. First, we have to consider like what is right, a right for them. So
Yeah.
there is a right is just for people, or a right includes animals too. So it's just
I
to
don't
see
mean-
that concept.
I don't mean necessarily legal rights. I mean moral rights, right? Like, do you
Oh,
think
moral
animals deserve the moral right to live or to their own life, to decide for their own life?
What do you think?
In their own body, basically. The basic thing, like if you're born an animal who's sentient, who has the capability to feel, to make decisions, to be basically to be allowed to make decisions because you can make decisions, right?
Okay.
Is that such a far-fetched right to have for them to have?
I think if I put it in a thing like respect more than rights. It's like I put it if an animal, for example, I really need those proteins, and I don't like that thing that you just kill the animals. You don't have to kill only the animal. It's like you have to say, hey, thank you for being here and for feeding our family and keep it strong, for example.
But wait a minute, did the animal feed your family, or did you choose to kill them and feed your family with their body?
That's the thing. For example, I choose that. I choose that because
And is
I
that
need
fair
it.
towards the animal?
No.
Can you choose something else?
Yeah, I can choose not to eat meat. For
Yeah,
example.
yeah. For example.
And I do that actually.
Yeah.
I do that. For example, I just need those proteins, but I choose, for example, not to eat that much as usual.
So from time to time, it's okay to kill one animal for something you don't need.
Yeah. Exactly. Something like that.
Would you apply that logic to dogs?
No, I wouldn't apply that logic to dogs because I don't know if I can eat a dog though. I don't know if it's part of that thing. of that line of circle of life. But no, I
But
wouldn't.
when it comes,
I
but,
wouldn't.
but when it comes to an action being violent towards somebody, right? Like taking their life, as you say, for animals. Should we just consider what the person who wants to take their life wants, or should we consider also what the victim wants?
I think we should consider how we can take care of them, and we have to like don't explode that thing. It's like we have to pay attention to how we do those things, because I know there are places that just hatred, they just kill the animal, and that's it. It's like a whole process thing. We have to think how many animals are there. Then after that, we have to say how many families we're gonna feed.
But even one single animal, I'm talking about one single animal. Do you think it's fair to kill them for something you don't need?
You don't need.
Yeah, like you don't need to consume animal products, no. Not milk, not eggs, not their flesh.
But you can choose.
You
not
can
need.
choose to, of course, yes. Just like I'm free to choose to beat up people. There would be a legal repercussion, but if there wouldn't be no legal repercussion, I could choose it and get away with it because let's say I have power, right? I'm a pretty powerful guy.
That's true.
Would that make it right what I'm doing?
It's part of you what you choose.
So that's moral to you, or right?
Yeah, it's moral for me. It's not about right or wrong. It's like that.
But
you have-
morality is about right or wrong.
Yes and no. It's like you can choose more than yes, this is right and this is wrong. It's like moral is more about choosing for you what is right and what is wrong. Because those concepts I always try to like explain in my head. It's like for me, right something and wrong something else, and for other people it's the same thing. It could be different actually.
So do you go by this idea that it's different for other people whether something is right or wrong? So basically, if you think that, then nobody is doing anything wrong, correct? Because a rapist might think that what they're doing is right. Then raping
that's
is not
the thing
is not
that I
wrong,
have
is
in my
there?
head, and I was like, how, for example, how can I can forgive those kind of things? And I just want to believe that actually one person can choose that thing. It's like, and it's like why hating or someone or why doing something bad for others. It's like because in my concept it's like I choose to believe there's something like a light thing inside of the people. That's why I was like debating on that. I'm still debating on that.
So you're
And-
debating whether rape is moral or not?
no. I'm debating of the thing that if actually those kind of people, even us,
Yeah.
we have that line in there, and we just like put it up, or how we put it up, that line on us, or not. It's like I wouldn't. For example, I'm debating if I would forgive someone just like that. It's like when you say Cinderella. It's like, for example, the story of Cinderella. It's like when you the person that take care of her is like so mean to her, and out of nowhere in the movie they're like she forgives her. It's like, I forgive you but I won't forget. And I was like, okay, that's quite interesting, but she was mean to you, and it's a fight thing to do, and it's like choices, right?
But I mean, I don't think you can forgive somebody for raping you, or you can forgive somebody for killing you, right?
And yeah, and that's what, for example, I'm as an artist. It's like sometimes you just think about that's true. That's true. It's because you're seeing in movies, for example, that actually they're forgiven, and some other movies that say, you know, I hate you, I want you to die.
But even if they forgive you, that action that individual was doing was still moral or immoral. It was still right or wrong, correct?
Correct.
So do you think that, yet again, killing an animal for something you don't need, is it right or is it wrong?
That you don't need, it's wrong.
You can make that choice, but it is wrong, correct?
Yeah.
So
Correct.
then when you consume animal products, you are killing an animal for something you don't need, correct?
Now, if I'm consuming an animal, first, yeah, if I consume an animal, it's because I need it.
You don't need it. You
No.
do consume it because you choose it.
No, I need it. Actually, I have a thing that I need those proteins.
I'm a certified nutritionist. What exactly do you think you need?
I need the vitamins that the meat has.
Which ones?
For example, I suffer from thyroidism.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't have enough vitamin D. I don't have B12. and I have a low thing in most of the vitamins that the meat gives me. So,
But vitamin D you get from the sun, and
uh,
vitamin B12.
my body rejects it, even with
your
pills.
body doesn't synthesize vitamin
Exactly.
D from the sun. So can you supplement it?
I tried it and I vomited.
You vomited from supplementing a
Exactly.
vitamin.
So that
But
happened.
animals are actually fed vitamins themselves, and actually animal flesh or animal products do not have vitamin D that much. So you couldn't meet your nutritional needs for vitamin D simply by eating animal products anyway. So-
That's why when I saw that actually also it's expensive eating meat, it's like I reduce the doses. But for example, red meat, I need it in my body because it contains enough vitamin 12 that my body.
Do you know where that vitamin B12 is coming from?
No, can you explain me?
Yeah, sure. So animals are fed B12 to supplement themselves.
Because of the supplements.
Yeah, so you're taking a second-hand supplement essentially because normally I think it's cobalamin that
Okay.
Animals would need to be fed.
Okay.
But it was normally
Yeah, better that way.
thank you.
You're
It wa-
welcome.
It was normally fed to it was normally present on the ground, but we all know we fucked up the ground pretty much, we
Yeah.
as humans. So because of that, animals also no longer get B12. So nowadays, it's recommended that they supplement them B12
Okay.
all around the world. I'm not sure if they are supplementing that. And I think if you do have a B12 deficiency, like I personally did, and I did it before being plant-based, before adopting a plant-based diet.
Oh, you have a blend.
I had the deficiency when I was consuming animal products. So don't think that you're getting B12 from animal products. Like don't count on that. So if you have an issue with B12, take a supplement.
Oh, I took the supplements, also the B12, and my body just rejects it. And the only thing that actually keeps me like a normal, strong thing, it's eating certain proteins stuff. That's it.
Well, it's eating somebody's flesh, you're saying.
It's because you can eat it.
But then let's put a hypothetical out there. Let's imagine that cows, chickens, and pigs all of a sudden they die of an uncertain disease that we as humans do not have enough time to fix it. There's no more cows, chickens, pigs in this world. You can only eat cats, dogs, or humans. Would you continue consuming flesh?
About cats and dogs, no, not even monkeys.
Okay, so then it seems to me like in that situation, would you die or would you find a way to make it work?
If it's only that, try to make it work.
Okay, so if you can make it work in that situation, and you would respect the rights of cats and dogs, why wouldn't you want to respect the rights of chickens, cows, or pigs? Do you think that if a dog has their throat cut,
Because
feels differently than a cow having their throat
I
cut?
can see the idea of for example, cows and chickens, especially those, and fish, those three that I need. It's part of my conception that I can eat those.
But if they no longer exist,
Yeah, if they don't longer exist in a hypothetical occasion, I'll die.
you'll die.
Yeah. I'll try to consume the other things. I'll try to find out ways first, and if not, I'll just take care of the dogs. But I'll always
Where-
choose only to eat those.
Where are you getting all of this nutritional information from?
My doctors.
Your doctor. Did you know that doctors do not have nutritional information? They don't have, unless you've been to a dietitian specifically or a certified nutritionist like myself. Doctors do not have nutritional certifications. They do not have nutritional training. So if a doctor is telling you to red meat, maybe you should not listen to that doctor unless
I
they're a
know.
specific
I know.
dietitian.
Yeah. She told me actually you should consider to eat that because I wasn't eating that much meat. I live in Argentina. In Argentina, it's quite expensive the meat there, so I stopped doing that. But the thing is that when I came back to my country and I was like, I recommend you to eat this just in case and go to a nutritionist so she can explain a little bit more what do you need because not only you need this percentage of meat, you need these things and it's better that she tells you that. But that nutritionist says that it's better if you just keep doing your own diet and follow the rules strictly.
Yeah, because nutritionists do not know if you have any moral or ethical issues with that particular issue, right? So the question, if you would have an ethical issue with exploiting and slaughtering these innocent animals, then they would find a way to make it work also for you under that situation. But you gotta want that, right? Because at the end of the day, I'm not telling you to die. No, hell no, I'm not telling you this. But what I'm telling you is that if you can respect the rights of animals, if you can make this choice, don't you think it's important that you try?
What I would try about those animals, especially, it's how are they treated. I
So you
would-
don't really care the fact that they're killed as babies,
No,
that they're
I do
brought into
care.
existence
I
only
do
to
care.
be killed.
I do care, but I want to say how, why, and how much is important for us, and it's because some people might need it, and for him I need it, in a certain percent. That
I'm
that-
still not convinced that you need it, by the way, but
Yeah, yeah.
because you just said vitamin B12
Yeah,
and the
it's-
vitamin
it's
D.
a whole thing
and I'm
that-
sure that you tried the pill, but you haven't. There's so many
No, I
ways to
tried
take
that
it.
pills for like 6 months, and I just all those 6 months it dropped. My body didn't accept that, and that it's a thing that many people say how a girl from 12 years can how a girl from 12 years can.
What are you pointing at? I don't know.
No, the camera. You just blocking me. So
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. The thing is that I was diagnosed with autism at 12, so it's quite weird for a 12-year-old that cannot consume, that has autism. It's just weird because I don't drink, I don't have things like that. So because my autism attacked my pancreas, so it was like a whole thing about my body that many things couldn't catch. And when I eat 70% of meat and stuff like that, vitamins, it's for me vitamins don't work, but normal food it does. So that's why I try to keep track on that.
Yeah, so that's very unscientific what you're saying there, but I'll trust you on that one. I won't say anything about it. Like, you know, vitamins are just food. They're food supplements.
Yeah,
that's what they're called, right?
yeah.
So
That's
it's-
why about alimentation and taking care of the animals thing. It's a whole thing that I have to evaluate.
But you consume dairy products, I would assume, right? You consume dairy products.
Yeah.
So how does that match into all of this? Dairy products are inherently cruel to animals. They sexually exploit cows. They
What is that
separate.
though? The word inherit?
Inherent means that it cannot be in any other way.
It cannot be in it.
Like
Okay.
dairy products cannot like they exploit animals as a thing they do. Like take for instance, why do you think cows produce milk in the first place?
Okay, got it. Yeah, I try to. I don't know about alimentation. I never thought about it actually.
But why do you think cows produce milk?
Hmm?
Why do you think cows produce milk?
Part of life.
Say that again.
Part of life. I've never.
Why
Actually, I
would
never,
a
like,
woman
evaluated
produce
that.
milk?
Huh?
Why would a woman produce milk?
I never thought about it. You thought about
For a normal,
yeah.
when they are pregnant.
it? Exactly.
So cows have to be pregnant to have a baby in order to produce milk.
Okay.
Yeah. So do you think they get pregnant when they want to, or do you think farmers decide for them?
No, in that way, it should be like a. Oh, wait. In that way, yeah, it should be like they shouldn't do anything to them.
But what do you think happens?
People kill them.
But no, who gets them pregnant? Do you think farmers get them pregnant? or-
Farmers.
Yeah. So if
It-
we did that to a woman, what would we call it? If somebody
Oh,
forcefully inseminated
Good question with that. Nice one. Nice one. Yeah, that's a whole thing that I saw with horses too. And oh, that's
So what would we call it if we did it to a
I have to
woman?
evaluate that. That's a whole thing. Yeah.
So if somebody pinned down a woman and inserted semen into her vagina to get her pregnant,
Mm-hmm.
what would we call it?
I think that has a name, actual medical name. Thing.
Rape.
No. If you see it in a cruel way, yeah, it's rape. But in the other thing, it's inception. I think it's.
Not if somebody pins her down against her
I know,
will.
I
That's
know,
the whole
against
point
her
of
will,
it.
yeah,
So that's one. Two, when the babies are born, what do you think happens to them?
I know they have to produce. It's like a whole thing in the system. I don't know much about the system.
So they're not allowed to drink the milk because the milk has to go for human consumption. So they separate them from their mothers, either on the first day of life or some farms on a couple of months out
Oh,
afterwards.
got it.
And if they're born male, they don't produce any milk. So what do you think they do to them?
So if they don't produce any milk, okay, they just separate them from the.
They kill them.
They kill them. Yeah.
If they're born female, every year forced inseminated, every year babies taken from them, and every year exploited for milk. And this repeatedly, year over year, until at some point they kill them too. Do you know when or why they kill them?
No, I don't know.
Because they can no longer get them pregnant.
Oh, so if they don't produce babies anymore, they just.
Yeah, because if they can't get them pregnant, they won't produce milk, so therefore they're considered useless, so they kill them.
Okay. Got
And
it.
that happens at a third of their lifespan.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chickens, for example, can
Yeah,
live 10
I
years.
know about that.
Do you
about
know at what
those
age
chickens.
chickens are killed at?
Yeah, I know that about all the rules about the chickens thing.
Do you know at what age chickens are killed at?
No.
42 days.
Ooh, that's fine.
They can live 10 years.
But they're nice though.
What is nice about them?
No, I don't want to say that. Actually, they're for my culture. It's quite nice. Like sometimes they're gods,
Their
We-
flesh is nice.
and their flesh is nice too.
Yeah. Is objectifying animals nice to do?
I'm not objectifying them.
I mean, when you're saying chickens are nice because I
No.
like to eat their flesh, it's like me saying women's are nice because I like their boobs. It's a form of objectification.
I think it's completely different in a way.
It's exactly the same. It's a form of objectification. You strictly care about them as the body that they have,
But you're
not as the
comparing
individuals
animals.
that they are.
You're comparing. So that's when you talk about comparing animals to people.
Should we not compare animals to people?
That's a whole thing for me. They're completely different.
So you are already comparing them yourself when you say they're completely different. You have to make a comparison in order to make the statement that they're
I
completely
say
different.
I learn. I know. The end for me is that animals are one thing and people are one thing.
But humans are also animals, are we not?
No, I don't consider that.
We are mammals. We are primates. We are animals.
Yeah, but I don't consider it in that same building as.
What's the morally significant difference between a human being and an animal that makes raping one okay but not the other?
No, it's not the whole thing about that thing. It's that for me, people can think and animals can think in that
Animals
way.
think, yeah.
Like reasonable, make sentences and stuff like that. That's why I separate them.
So the human beings who cannot make sentences or think rationally, are they okay to be exploited, raped, slaughtered? Should we
Just
objectify them?
because animals can think and stuff.
No,
like
no,
that.
humans who cannot think, humans
Okay.
who are intellectually challenged,
Okay.
humans who
Oh,
cannot
yeah, true.
reason. Is it okay
Yeah,
to?
but no.
No, it's okay.
Is it okay to? Is it okay
But
to
we have
oppress
to go
them?
to a
Is it
train
okay
too.
to exploit them, to oppress humans who cannot think?
No, it's not.
So then, why would you do that to animals? Because the only reason you said it's okay to do it to animals is because they cannot think like humans can. So the humans who cannot think like most humans can then should apply the same rule.
It's not because of that. It's not only because of the
Then
reason
what
of
else is
thinking.
there?
It's also because I'm telling you that it's part of the culture that we created. It's like
So do you think culture dictates morality? Like if something
Nice.
is cultural, does that mean it's moral?
No, it comes as a consequence. Culture
Yeah.
is one thing, and then morality.
Yeah.
It's
So
not.
so it being cultural doesn't mean anything. It could still be moral and cultural at the same time, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So then, do you think yet again killing animals is like
Mm-hmm.
exploiting them, using them, treating them like objects essentially? Is
Mm-hmm.
that moral or immoral? We know it's cultural, but
Mm.
is it moral or immoral?
Treating them in a bad way, for me, it's immoral.
It's immoral.
It's immoral in a
Yeah.
bad way that it just go for it.
Treating them in a bad way.
Yeah.
So
And-
bringing them to life only to kill them as babies, is that treating them a bad way?
No. I'm saying the whole thing. The whole thing, and it's about
What's the whole thing?
the whole thing that you explain about the babies and then the procedure, the meat thingy, and then the killing and stuff like that. All that process, I think it's immoral.
So does that mean that you're no longer going to be buying dairy products?
No, I still have, but I'm gonna reduce that, and I
So-
find a way to.
But if you find it immoral, what exactly is the moral justification for buying another dairy product knowing that you will be paying for a cow to be raped and have their baby stolen from them?
On that, I have to investigate those places, and maybe if I can go and talk to the.
Farmers?
Yeah.
Do you think farmers will tell you what you want to hear, or do you think they'll tell you the truth? All of
It's-
this is
it's
coming
worth a
from secret
try.
cameras.
Yeah, it's worth
But you
it,
know
right?
they'll tell you everything so that you buy their products, right? They have an incentive in that.
Yeah, I know. Then I know they're gonna lie, and they might say one story, but I have a good eye, and if I really want to change the way I think and the way I consume, I'm gonna investigate a little bit more on that.
Sure. Let me give you a card because I think like we reached a natural stopping point. And you said you got to go also. So if
Yeah.
you scan this QR code, there's a thing there called Dominion, or the most important speech you'll ever hear.
Yeah.
They show you what animal agriculture does. I just urge you to learn about it because you
Okay.
might not be okay with all of it. Like you didn't know about dairy. Like I also didn't know about dairy.
Okay.
And if you scan this QR code also afterwards, there's a thing there called Challenge 22. They
Yeah.
hook you up with a nutritionist. They send you recipes every day.
Okay,
They help
perfect.
you go plant-based as you need.
Okay.
So at least you can consult a specialist in that situation and see if
Yeah.
you can do it. But first and foremost, I would say get informed a little bit on it because
Yeah, I can do
you
that.
might not be okay with any of it, right? Like even if you bring to life an animal and kill them at a young age, and between those 40 days, 1 month, you keep them happy, I would still wrong to do all of it because
Yeah, I'm gonna
they don't-
invest. I never unbounded on this topic, so thank you for that. And I'm gonna check on that, and I'm gonna try to see what can I change as an individual to this
Okay,
world.
I appreciate you having
So,
this
thank
conversation with
you.
me. What's your name?
Alex.
Alex.
Asia.
Asia.
Thank you
I'm
for the
sorry I didn't
information,
really talk
though.
to you, but I hope you
No,
also
no
got
problem.
something out
Yeah,
of this
yeah.
conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, thank
Watch
you.
one of those two videos, okay? Just to get informed. That's it. That's all I want.
What?
Watch one of those two videos,
Yeah.
Dominion
Yeah.
or the most important speech ever here.
Okay, perfect. Thank
I
you.
appreciate
Thank you.
Cheers. We got the "Do you eat avocados?" in the chat. So funny. Yeah. Hello, Keisha. Hi.
How you doing?
Good. Do you want to try it?
Sure.
Are you okay being live for my YouTube channel? What's your name?
Bruce.
Bruce. How about you?
I'm Luke.
Luke. Okay, Bruce and Luke. Okay, where are you guys from?
Canada.
Canada.
Yeah.
Okay, so that means you speak English well. So I'll ask you, what's your take on oppression?
That's such a broad question.
Yeah. So oppression means cruel and unjust treatment. What I want to ask you is, do you think that the powerful, or just one individual with power, should have the right to oppress an individual without power?
No. No.
No. What if they benefit from it? The individual with power benefits from it.
Certainly wouldn't in that case.
I mean, it's a complicated question because obviously, like, point blank, like, oppression is bad, but power structures have to exist for, like, a civilized society, right?
But
And
oppression means cruel and unjust. That doesn't have to exist for a civilized society, does it?
No, not necessarily, but I think that power structures are kind of inherently oppressive.
Not
You know?
necessarily, right? Like power structures exist because there's individuals with power, but abusing the power doesn't have to exist, right?
I guess not.
Right. That's the whole point about oppression. Is essentially means abusing your power over somebody, right?
Right, sure.
So would you say that if somebody should be allowed to abuse their power over somebody else, as long as they benefit from it?
No, not necessarily, no.
No. What if the individual without power doesn't realize that they're being taken care of, that they're being taken advantage of, or that they're being oppressed?
Well, of course, that's worse. I mean, like in the case of like laws protecting children, that's why they're so strict. Is because like they're innocent. They don't know. They don't know.
Exactly. So if it would be worse in that situation.
Yeah.
And what if the oppressor justifies all this by saying they're part of a different group than I am? They're a different sex. They're a different race. Does that make it moral?
No, it doesn't
No.
make it.
Like they could say, well, my race or my sex is on top and will always have the power. Therefore, it's okay to oppress them because I will never be in the situation where I'm oppressed myself, right?
Right.
That's their justification normally. Because they're part of this powerful structure, as you said, they would never be oppressed themselves, so they consider it moral because they can do it. Would you say it's moral?
No, I wouldn't say it's moral. No.
Okay, I appreciate that. So then we come back to the reason why I'm here. Is it okay to oppress animals?
That's a complicated question.
Is it complicated? Is it okay to be cruel and unjust towards animals?
Not necessarily, no. But I think to some extent we do need, like we've done this whole animal husbandry for so long, right? As humans, we're pretty reliant on like some of the services and products that animals provide. I think that being cruel in the
That
process.
we take from them, you mean, not because they don't provide them. Animals don't readily give their life away for us.
No.
We take it from them.
Yeah, you're right, and yeah, I guess it's a bit tough. It's not right.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things. There are so many things that aren't right that kind of just are. You know what I mean?
I know, but so was slavery, right? Slavery was done for thousands of years, and it just was part of a society. It was integral in our society.
Right.
And we questioned it, the moral aspect of it, and thanks to, of course, other aspects of it, we managed to curb it. Same for women's rights, right? There were the suffragettes who were fighting for women's rights because women didn't have rights for thousands of years.
Right.
So just because something was done for 1,000 of years does not make it right, right?
No, I suppose not. I suppose not.
So if you were to find out that you can survive and thrive on a plant-based diet, because I'm assuming most of the times people have issues with the diet aspect of it, correct?
Yeah.
Like I don't think you need to wear leather. Do you need to wear leather?
No, I usually don't.
No. Do you need to go to zoos? Or pay for? Do you need to pay for entertainment, which comes at the expense of animal exploitation?
Now, zoos I think are a bit different. Like circuses I'd agree with, because circuses are generally a little bit more exploitive. But,
Yeah.
but with zoos are, like the animals are treated very well, and it's usually a bit more like educational.
I think it's a lot more complicated when you talk about like the animals in zoos. Like you have a big range there. You have like very large, like if you look at like a marine zoo, they're very controversial right now. Orcas, dolphins, like things like that. They don't hold up very well. A zoo that had something like bugs, some of the aquariums for smaller fish, it is a very different
Yeah.
ball game you're talking here.
Should we not value their freedom, or why?
They still live in freedom, and a lot of these zoos provide some of these animals, for example, it's rehabilitation. These animals
Yeah.
could not survive due to injuries sometimes
Invasive
in the wild.
species.
And yeah, absolutely. They could be invasive species
Like
that
New
were
Zealand.
captured in an area
Yeah.
that are incredibly damaging to the ecosystems there.
Yeah.
And also,
What's
by
the
these
most damaging animal
Rat.
to the ecosystem?
Aside from the human, the rat.
So the human.
Yeah, of course.
Should
Of
we
course,
put
no.
humans in zoos so that we keep them separated from other animals?
I'd argue we kind of do. City.
No, like so we can discuss all zoos all day, and I feel like we can discuss that. But I'm
For
curious
sure.
mostly about this diet thing, which is just something you guys can actively change and make actually a change for animals, right? So,
So
if
just so we're clear here, are you
Yeah.
advocating for a vegan-based diet or a vegetarian diet?
I'm advocating for a vegan, full stop. Do you know what being vegan is?
Do you have a different definition from the typical?
You're just not using any animal products whatsoever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's a consequence of being vegan. Veganism is to animals what feminism is to women. It's essentially veganism means respecting animals' rights. It means choosing to not exploit them if you can make that choice. We acknowledge that we live in a world where animals are exploited, but if you're faced with the choice between exploiting an animal or not,
Yeah.
surely the right thing to do must be choosing to not exploit them, correct?
I have a complicated relationship with the whole vegan thing because I've tried it. I'd say
You tried
when,
to respect animal rights.
Okay, that's a way to put it. I mean, like I did the whole vegan diet thing for
Plant-based diet, yeah.
Plant-based diet.
Yeah.
Like I there was a long period of time where I was drinking almond milk and I was making sure like all my stuff was vegan. I did this for a while. I did this for like I'd probably say about a year.
Okay.
And I lost a lot of weight. I felt very weak.
So you didn't eat enough.
I guess, but I felt like I was eating about the same amount. But
Yeah, that's the thing about it. That's actually a very common mistake people make. I'm a certified nutritionist, FYI, but that's a common mistake people make when they adopt a plant-based diet, because when you eat more plants, you get more fiber and you feel full faster. And the plants also have they're less calorie dense than animal products, right?
Of course.
So if you're going to be eating plants or plant-based products, or you're going to try to eat healthy and you're going to eat a whole food plant-based diet,
Yeah.
where you make these dishes which is full of plants and all this, you're going to be getting very little calories. So a lot of the times, if you lost weight, that's a clear indication that you didn't have enough calories.
Right. Fair enough. I mean, I'm, like me personally, I find that I'm very like form over anything else when it comes to food. Like I'm the kind of guy like, I know I'm not very big or anything,
Yeah.
but like when I'm doing like my workouts and stuff, I just like put protein in a cup, shake it, and like that's good enough for a meal for me.
Yeah.
Like I'm
And
not
you can
like,
put the vegan protein. Why put the one that
I've heard
that,
questionable things about
that
soy
sexually
protein.
exploits cows?
Yeah. I mean, I get where you're coming from. Like
Yeah.
really, I do, and I do respect the stance.
Yeah.
Just
It's-
sorry, I didn't
Go
want
ahead,
to
no,
cut
go
you
ahead.
off. No, I just want to ask you a quick question. Like,
Sure.
just are you advocating for a plant-based diet, or are you advocating more for like the proper treatment of animals? Because where would, for example, lab-grown meat or otherwise animal products that aren't necessarily from an animal?
Yeah, that's
So-
a great
so-
question. So I'm not advocating for a plant-based diet. I don't care what diet you adopt. I don't care what you do. I'm advocating for the animals' rights.
Okay.
So I'm advocating for animals to no longer be exploited. I go down the right of talking about diet with people because most of the times that's the issue that people have. But if you want to eat what you call lab-grown meat, right? Like, and it's not exploiting animals, sure. If you want to eat plant-based meat, sure. If you, whatever else, as long as you're not paying for an animal to be put in a situation where you wouldn't put a human being or where you wouldn't even put a dog. Like, I would assume none of you would eat dog meat, right? You would?
Like-
not willingly, but I mean, I unfortunately have been tricked into it.
No, but I mean, like, if you had the choice.
No, if I had the
between-
choice, if I could avoid it, I would. But if
Yeah.
I had to do or die,
Yeah, that's a different case, right? But the whole point is about choice. So if you have the
Yes.
choice, you wouldn't do it. So it's why wouldn't you respect the same thing to all these other animals? I don't think that from the perspective of a dog or the perspective of a cow, there's that much difference, right? They all just want to live and be free.
yeah, to an extent. I guess a lot of it's branding. A lot of it is just tradition, right?
It is. It is.
I do think that to some extent tradition is important, though.
But you can continue the traditions that you are following through without exploiting the animals. Take, for instance, if you eat turkey for dinner, for Christmas, instead of eating turkey, you can make tofurkey. Or you can still have, because I don't think the tradition, important part of the tradition is having a dead corpse on your plate or on your table, right? The important part is meeting with the other people, discussing, having that whole thing. Like the tradition isn't dependent on there being an animal's corpse there on the table, is it?
I suppose not.
Yeah.
Um,
You can adapt the traditions, is my point. You can still keep them, but adapt them.
right.
Like we would have done in the case of traditions that exploit women or other human beings.
Sure. I've got complicated feelings on this topic.
But let's discuss the animal rights issue because then it becomes easier, right?
Sure.
Like if we talk about the animal rights, do you think there's any difference about what a dog would feel if we force them into a slaughterhouse versus what a cow feels if we force them into a slaughterhouse?
Yeah, I think to an extent. I think that different animals, different levels of intelligence. Because like a lot of people who are vegan are perfectly fine with eating like bugs, right?
No.
I've met vegans home.
They're not
that-
vegan then.
They claim to be. Let's just
They
say.
claim to be, but there's a lot of people who claim to be vegan. They're not vegan. No.
Sure.
No, vegans do not eat bugs. No.
But I've again, whether or not they're actually vegan, I've had people like in these circles that
Yeah.
have claimed to be vegan that are fine with eating bugs. They're like, oh, it's the best place to get your protein.
Yeah.
Because like
punch
the way
them in the stomach next time you meet them and say, "What the fuck are you calling yourself a vegan?" If you're
Isn't
eating
it just the
bugs?"
worst combination then? At
Yeah.
least like if the argument is, meat is it's being very like decadent and indulging at the expense of these other creatures, right? And then but then you're not getting any of the like
Yeah, it's a
in this
ridiculous thing.
selfish, right?
Yeah, it's a selfish.
But you're not getting the selfish out of it, like eating like a traditional thing of a cow.
Yeah,
and
you're
then you're not being
sacrificing
vegan.
yourself and you're sacrificing other
Yeah,
beings,
you're not.
so
It's like
doing
the
right thing
worst
either way.
case scenario. Like no one wins here.
But okay. But what I was getting at in that situation is a lot of people, and to some extent myself included, value, I guess, like the animal situation based on how intelligent it is, because how intelligent a creature is kind of determines how much it can suffer, right?
But pigs are more intelligent than dogs. for
Yeah,
example.
I can agree with that. Sure, absolutely.
And
I know.
the level of the capability of suffering that cows have is fairly similar to that of a dog. You can look up online.
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
there's videos of you throw a ball to a cow and they bring it back. They
I can
want to play with
absolutely, yeah,
balls.
absolutely.
So they're fairly similar in intelligence. To claim that one is more intelligent than the other would be a bit disingenuous because
Yeah, no, I
think
agree.
it solely will depend on each individual in this case.
Now, I guess I agree with that absolutely.
Yeah.
I know cows, pigs, sheep,
Yeah.
horses, etc. are just like as intelligent, if not more so than dogs in some cases.
Yeah, yeah.
Where I would split off is in the case of like insects, fish are a big one, because a lot of small fish are, they don't
Yeah,
even, like
but-
a lot of them don't even feel pain.
But then I gotta ask. Well, so my threshold is sentience. If they have a subjective experience of the world, I don't really care if they feel pain because I don't think that harming a human being is okay if I sedate them first so they no longer feel pain, right? It's the idea. It's not the pain the problem. The problem is the fact that you're not respecting their interests to live. The fact that they're not respecting what they want to do. So if an individual has the capability to have wants or interests, then we should respect that. Whether they're a fish, a human, an animal, doesn't really matter to me. Like that's how I see it. But let me put it this way. If you are faced with an option between respecting their right or not, why would you ever choose to not respect their right?
Well, again, like I find that with animals and what have you, like eating meat and what have you, like it has a very good, like it's vitamin-wise and like nutrient-wise, it's very, very good.
Not
Like
that much, no.
a lot of bodybuilders, like a lot, especially like a lot of the old school guys, you know, like Arnie.
Yeah,
you know, once
but
upon a time, they
because these people grew up with one thing and they refuse to change it. These are the same people who have the most ridiculous, superstitious things that they do. Like, don't wash my cloth because otherwise I'm not gonna win this competition, right? Like, they don't really they are like literally in the bodybuilding community. There's literally it's split between the scientific-based community and the non-scientific based community. And the scientific-based community is so small in the bodybuilding community. They're like, you know.
I mean, traditionally, the biggest bodybuilders in the world are the ones that aren't vegan.
Actually, Mr. Olympia, the from last year was vegan.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, you can build muscle, you can thrive on a plant-based diet, you can have everything you need, man. That's the whole thing about it. We've been conditioned by these companies who want to sell us products to believe they literally pay a large sums of money to tell us that we need their products. That's what they do. It's called marketing at the end of the day. But and I have no problem with it with any other company. My problem with it is the fact that they are exploiting innocent animals in the process, right? And that's where we should say, well, hold on a minute. I'll buy your products, but tell me the truth. Are these animals actually okay? Because they're not. They're just lied to us to say that they're okay.
So a question that I have as well, like obviously, like as humans, okay. So why as humans are we responsible? Like why are we the only creatures on Earth that are responsible in this way to care? For,
Because
like,
we're moral agents.
Because we're more what?
Moral agents, right? So there's moral agents and there's moral patients. The moral agents are the ones who are capable of judging whether something is moral or not, and they have a responsibility towards the moral patients. But I'm not talking to you about our responsibility to protect animals. I believe we kind of have that, but it's a whole other can of worms, right?
Yeah.
Is that the expression? Yeah. So, but that's a whole bigger deal. I think we at least have the responsibility to not exploit animals ourselves, right? Like I'm not saying go and fight for animals. I'm saying stop oppressing them. You see?
Right. Yeah.
Like just make this small change where you no longer oppress them because.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure.
So where would you fall on something like bees, for example?
Bees.
Yeah.
Well, bees are sentient. They do have a subjective experience of the world, so using them, it would be wrong, yeah.
But in a hive, for example, like if you don't take care of your hive, like I remember, like the bees will just leave. Like if they don't like how you're treating them, right? Because there is upkeep with hives, right? You just
But the
don't.
queen
like,
bee can't leave. Do you know why?
because
keep her
she's
there.
They
I know
cut
she's
off the
there.
wings and they sexually exploit her. They forcefully inseminate her to get another queen bee, and they do the same thing.
Absolute. All right. So in that case, but what if you didn't do those things, right? The bees moved into that, right? Because
But you would still be taking, like I have no problem
no,
if you want to
I get
have
it.
bees.
But in that way, you could argue it's closer to a symbiotic relationship, right? You
But
could say-
did the bees consent to you taking their honey?
in a way, by being there, right? If you took
No,
too much,
that's you
No,
overreading
absolutely,
into
no,
it.
but
Imagine like saying, well, my child consented to me taking their drawing and
a
selling
child
it.
doesn't have agency to just like leave though. A closer comparison would be like,
Neither
I would
does-
argue like an adult. Like in the same sense though, but like a child can't. Like a child's inherently innocent. Are all animals like inherently innocent like a child?
Yeah.
Including like chimpanzees.
Yeah, they're inherently innocent. They don't know right from wrong. They're very much like an intellectually challenged human being. They're innocent in the way that they don't know what's right or wrong.
I mean, they wage wars, they hold grudges, they kill and eat each other.
But they don't know that that is right or wrong. It's the same thing. Like if a child breaks the neck of a duck, I would say that's fucking wrong, but I wouldn't scream at the child, what the hell are you doing? Because that child doesn't know that they're doing something wrong, right?
I think that child very much knows what they're like.
Well,
That's
yeah, lock them up. But I mean, like to some extent, like what's right and wrong is pretty contentious, right? Like obviously, okay, I'm a Christian, right? But like in the Bible, like animals are beneath us, right? Like we have the right to, like according biblically speaking. Like we
I
have
don't
the
think
right
we want to bring religion into this. I don't think we should bring religion into this because I don't think you should use a compassionate God to justify violence.
No. I'm not trying to use it as a justification. I'm just saying that like what's right and wrong, I think is very kind of subjective, like moral relativism, right? Like a lot of people, like
that's
I'm
a
not.
fallacy, man. To use moral relativism as an excuse to commit clearly immoral acts is a fallacy, right? Because it's like saying I don't want to. It's like it's a little bit lazy, like saying, well, is rape wrong? Well, to the individual who did rape, they think they were doing something right, but it's clearly not the right thing to do, right? Like we can't just say morality is subjective, therefore anybody can do whatever they want because they find it the right thing to do, right? Like there is some form of intersubjectivity, there is some form of contractual thing that we sign, and I'm merely asking you here because you wouldn't apply it to dogs. Clearly, the way you see dogs is you treat them as individuals. You wouldn't kill them for something you don't need. Yet all these other animals, you think it's okay, and you alone have said that there's no difference. You've said intelligence, but even intelligence, I don't think you should, even if I ask you, should we judge whether to kill somebody or not based on their level of intelligence? I don't think you would agree with that, right?
No.
No.
No, not necessarily. No.
Yeah, so we end up in this situation where we strip out intelligence, we strip out everything, and we realize that we're exactly the same as all these other animals. We're just individuals who feel, who emote, who want to live their life, who love. They love too, you know, they feel love. We like if you think about it really how you live your life, you really do live your life like an animal. You mostly just look for food, look for mates, you go with what feels good to you and don't like what feels bad for you. This is essentially what animals do. I'm oversimplifying it,
Of course.
but like the rationalization part of it, we spend very little time in our life, the rationalization part of it, and hence why we don't condone the people who don't rationalize. We essentially take care of them. But when it comes to animals, who are essentially fairly similar to these people, we draw this line and we say, let's exploit and kill them. And I don't blame you for thinking this way, because I think this thinking has been brought onto you by the culture that you were in, by the companies that have created this culture. But they only have a financial benefit
Do
in the
you,
beginning.
do you
They
think
don't
at
have
one
any-
point in human history it was necessary for that culture to exist?
Maybe at one point it was. I can't deny that it wasn't, sure, but it no longer
Because
is.
because I got the argument here, especially
Yeah.
right. Like we live in a society that's like post. Like if we wanted to, right, as a society, we decide we want to go in that direction. Like okay, no more animal products.
Yeah.
We are like capable. Like we can live a
We
first
can do
world
that.
life
Yeah.
by doing it. Like I get that argument 100%, right? And
Yeah.
that wasn't possible up until like relatively
Exactly.
recently.
Yeah,
right?
maybe,
you
maybe that was
could-
the case. It's true, yeah.
right.
But that's the whole point. The fact that we reached the point where we no longer need to do this means that as long as we considered what we do to them, because a lot of people called it necessary evil, once we remove the necessary, it just evil remains. So we're essentially continuously doing this to them, and we need to stop, as you said, because we reached the point where we no longer need to do it. So while you can't rely on the companies to stop producing products for you, we need governments to make regulations, but governments will not make regulations if people demand it, because governments don't do necessarily what is right or wrong, they do what is popular. So when 97% of the people want to consume animal products, governments will support that idea. And they will, they will incentivize it, because they pay subsidies to these animal agriculture, like large subsidies.
Yeah.
So, you know, like we need more people to be on the right side. That's all it is. We need more people to say no to all of this, so that eventually animals get to have the bare minimum, which is a right to their own life. That's a bare minimum. I'm not saying they should vote. They should have right to protect. I'm not even saying that they should have a right to be protected from us, or to be. I'm just saying the bare minimum for them to not be exploited by us.
Yeah, fair enough. I do respect your position because it comes from like a place of obvious compassion.
Fairness. I think I call it more fairness than compassion to me. Like I think it's unfair to do this to them.
What do
I
you
would-
think? Sorry, I
Yeah,
didn't
go
want
on,
to
go
cut you
on.
off there. What do you think is the? I hate to say it like this, but I think it's the easiest way to convey it. What's the lowest animal or animal that you consider like sentient, or what do you consider an animal? Like what's low?
So sentience
let's-
is an emerging property of brains and central nervous systems.
Absolutely.
So there are debates on, for example, bivalves, whether they're sentient or not. I'm not sure, but I err on the side of caution, and I would not.
Same.
It's the precautionary principle. So I would not. I would say that I don't know if they're sentient. They might be, so I'm not gonna consume them.
So-
but I also wouldn't. I wouldn't like. I don't know, sit on the street and speak for them unless I know for certain that they
No,
are.
absolutely.
See what I
But
mean?
like, it's a big thing because like you see that with like vegetarians too, like are big on it. Like they won't eat like from things like cows and stuff that's like very obvious and like cute, right?
Yeah.
they'll eat shellfish like 100%, dude. Like
Oh,
shell.
that's hypocritical. Of course, vegetarians are fucking hypocrites.
Well, but
Fuck
okay.
them. Dude, like, I'll tell you
Okay.
real. Like, let me just tell you real quick because
Okay.
you touched on vegetarians because they eat dairy products. That's easy,
Yeah.
right? Do you guys know why cows produce milk?
They're constantly inseminated, like over. and
Yeah,
over.
yeah, they produce it for their
Like,
babies.
continually.
So they're forcefully inseminated. When the babies are born, they're separated from their mothers so that they don't drink the milk.
Yeah.
And if the baby is born male, they kill them. If they're born female, they do this repeatedly year over year like they do to their mothers. And when they can no longer get them pregnant, they kill them. And that happens a third of their natural lifespan.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is insane. Like, you can't care about animals and say, I'm going to pay for this to happen just because I enjoy the taste of the resulting product.
I mean, yeah.
Sorry.
No,
I
go ahead.
sorry. So like, what about jellyfish and stuff? Like, all right, no, but
The
seriously,
jellyfish
hang
is
on,
the
hang on.
same thing, right? And I think jellyfish, if I'm not mistaken, though, there's a higher possibility that they are sentient than that they're not. So I would still err on the
Like,
side of
They don't
caution.
have brains, do they?
But like,
They don't have a brain, but
No
they have a
central-
central nervous system, I think.
it's like very like rudimentary. Like, yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's like 100% there.
Yeah,
and
but
it's like, but like, then I'd have concerns with like. You almost get into like a philosophy thing with like the concept of emergence and like this and that, right? Like,
But it's easy. It's
It-
you can
but-
think of it this way: if an individual has a will or has an interest, and you can choose to respect their will or their interest, then do that.
well, I just mentioned it because previously, right? We mentioned like lab-grown meat. We
Yeah.
mentioned some things that are derived from. They'd be derived from like bacteria and stuff.
Yeah, bacteria is not sentient. They don't have a will. They don't have an interest. They like you wash your hands.
But-
Nobody's suffering there. There's just the They're just like a biological mechanism thing.
But is it a jellyfish like? A jellyfish is really like to me like because you do the line like
I'll tell you this: we can disagree on jellyfish. I don't know about it.
no 100% right
But
like
like
I didn't mean to
all
make
these
this
other
like,
animals
like a
are-
jellyfish rights-based
Yeah.
discussion here
Yeah.
right but if you want err on the side of caution right wouldn't like anything like bacteria what about, like
No, bacteria is 100% not sentient.
But I mean, like again, you mentioned
But-
like when you wash your hands, nobody's suffering. But
Yeah.
again, like we mentioned earlier, like insects and like fish.
and
like,
just
again,
because they don't
feel-
suffer it doesn't mean you didn't like
They don't have the capability to suffer. That's my point.
But neither do fish. Like a
lot
like
of
a
fish
what
do,
if
a
you
lot of fish do,
instantly-
yes,
Yeah.
but like not all. There are a
Yeah.
lot of fish.
Also,
that-
a fish is very complicated to say because when we talk about fish, we just create this big category. But not all fish are the same.
You're right.
Like not
what about
all.
sardines?
Yeah.
Sardines don't.
I don't know about sardines. Like again, I don't know. My whole point is like even with sardines, I would still err on the side of caution because we come back to the same thing. If you don't need to do it, why would you
Well-
ever go put yourself in a position where you might be doing something immoral?
What
well,
about
I
protein?
definitely, I think sardines are definitely sentient. Like I'd put them like again, if you're making this list on
mean,
like
they don't feel pain, they don't
intelligence, fish absolutely do feel pain. Like
they
they
don't.
react in the
They
sense
do,
like
yeah.
in the same way like jellyfish do. Like they react to an external. If you want to say like pain or pain responses, react to external stimulus. Like that's
Not just
is that,
No, that's not the only thing. There's also
would
an
say-
emotional response to it.
so there has to be an emotion.
Yeah,
you
that's
think?
that's the
That's-
sentient part of it. Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like we're
Yeah.
falling down the semantic ladder right now.
Yeah.
No, but I'm like genuinely curious. here.
No,
Like,
I see what you mean. It's just like we can obviously like I'm not saying that veganism is a perfect system. Of course,
No, absolutely.
there's obviously things you can look into, and then you can go to these edges of it where like what about this animal? What about this animal?
Sure.
But one thing we can be clear on is the animals that we consume, the animals that we exploit, are definitely sentient. They're definitely capable of suffering, and
Yeah.
they definitely have a subjective experience of the world, right? So I would say if you start from there and say, am I comfortable putting a dog into a slaughterhouse? No. Then why am I comfortable putting a cow? Could it just be cultural, like brainwashing? No, I don't want to call it brainwashing.
No,
but like
you're right because it's some
I
is.
know.
Like
It
the
sounds
animals
bad,
we
but-
chose are it's not arbitrary per se, but it's
it's almost arbitrary. It's
it
almost
is-
arbitrary.
yeah, it is in the sense like we pick the animals because they're good for meat and we like the taste of them, and then over time they're
Yeah.
easy to keep. Like that's not arbitrary reasons, but like there is no reason like tomorrow we could like cultivate dogs on like a mass scale if we like
Exactly.
really wanted to,
Exactly.
right? Yeah, absolutely. Or
Yeah.
like cats or whatnot, but
Exactly.
they're not exactly great eating and it's unpalatable to most people.
Actually, I've heard dog meat is similar to pig flesh. So if you consume dog meat,
Just less. The big difference between them is less. Like pigs are better at making
Yeah.
meat than dogs are generally. speaking.
I don't know, but then if you compare a dog to a chicken, a dog makes more meat than a chicken. So that's not the
But
reason.
it's like
Chickens
the
eat
proportion.
anything. It's like It's
that's a good
it's
point.
more
No, it's
convenience.
very much a cultural thing why we selected these animals, just like it is because in certain cultures they do eat dogs.
Yeah,
and a
yeah.
lot of the times, people who live in the Western world are appalled by them, but that's so hypocritical because they do the same thing to different animals, right? But we come back to the same principle. These animals are sentient. You can survive and thrive without doing this to them. So going forward, like while I don't care what you did in the past, I'm not here to judge.
Sure.
But going forward, why would you ever choose to put an animal into a slaughterhouse, to kill them, to exploit them?
Part of it is, I think, mitigating human suffering too, because like to some extent, having animals and having these farms and like exploiting animals does mitigate human suffering to some
Doesn't. It
degree.
actually makes considerably more suffering. The people who are working in slaughterhouses are suffering from PTSD constantly. They are having issues, like the human beings who are working in slaughterhouses are constantly exploited for the work that they do, and they're usually human beings who are of a lower class, and they take advantage of that very clearly. And they suffer from PTSD. They beat up their wife because they have this PTSD, because to them, violence no longer means anything. They just come home. Like there was a story about a guy online who, after his first day on the slaughter floor, on the kill floor, he went to a bar and two people started fighting. He saw blood on the floor and was like, nothing. Literally didn't feel anything about it anymore.
I meant more like people consuming the animal products to some degree mitigates.
I mean, even you, what do you mean? Like, red meat is type 2B carcinogenic. White meat is considered, there's a new study that just came out that shows that the detrimental effects that meat has cannot even be combated by consuming more plants for white meat. So you can have gastrointestinal cancer from it. So it's not good for us. It's not good for the environment, clearly, which also affects us because, it takes 6 to 8 times more land to produce 1 gram of animal protein versus 1 gram of plant protein. Nobody benefits from it except for these companies. That's the only ones who benefit from it.
The issue I take with that is that you hear that everything is a carcinogenic now. Like I've heard that plenty of
Not
plant-based
everything is
things are.
carcinogenic.
No, well, but I mean like somebody out there has some agenda. Like
But type 2B carcinogenic literally means that every time you eat it, your chances of colon cancer increases by a certain percentage depending on your biology or your genetics.
Sure. But again, a lot of the alternatives aren't perfect. Like,
But they're not carcinogenic.
Well, like, what do you think about like plastics and like microplastics? Because like
There hasn't been there. I actually have been looking into studies on microplastics. There's no clear indication that they may be carcinogenic. They may be detrimental to our health, but they're not necessarily carcinogenic. No.
Sure.
But even if you also have a problem with microplastics, then you should yet again not consume animal products because plastics are used considerably more in animal products. Number one, and number two, 90. I think what was it? There's this company.
Sorry, what do you mean by that? Like, plastics are used in animal products?
Well, animal
Is that
products need to be, once they kill the animal and put them, they have to be in plastic. Plant-based
Oh, okay.
products don't
I
have
see.
to be in
I see.
plastic. A lot of the times they're actually using cardboard or they're using lower grade plastic or
Okay,
some
I see
form-
what you're saying.
Yeah.
Sorry, just making sure we're on
And
this.
most of the plastic in the sea is not coming from straws or whatever. It's actually coming from the fishing industry because they use this plastic nets, and also, sometimes the fish cut through them. Some of it remains. It's a lot of if you there's a company called the Seafarers or something. The ones that they pick up trash from the ocean. They actually had the report and said I think 85% of the trash that they picked up was just fishing nets or things coming from the fishing industry.
So I haven't agreed with you on most things here.
Yeah.
And I'd argue with a lot of these plastic products used in animal products, right? In conjunction, we'll say, that it's not something inherent. We don't have to make the nets out of them in the same way, right? To spin this the other way, well, if I said, wow, these plant products, there's absolutely massive issues with the agriculture industry on
There
the
are,
plant side of things,
100%,
right?
yeah.
Fertilizer runoff, you have GMOs and the rights for them, right? I'm sure you've heard the story. It was these farmers, they're from
GMOs
somewhere,
are
right?
not bad, by the way.
No, I don't have a problem with GMO. The problem isn't the GMO or itself. I'm actually pretty, we'll say for it or whatever you want to say. The problem is for example, they aren't, what's the name of it? You can't grow seeds off them. You have farmers being
Nowadays you
sued.
can. Nowadays you can.
But a lot of these companies are locking
Are
them
you
down.
talking about like copyrighted seeds, like seeds that-
Essentially like
yeah.
that, right? And like again, those are
That's an
absolutely
issue.
cons, and
That's
I'm
an
sure,
issue. I'll
yeah,
agree with you on that
100%.
one.
But my argument is when you say plastic products have to be used
Sure.
with animal products, you're
Sure.
equating those things. Absolutely, we use these plastic products with animal products, and that's wrong. Like especially the way we do.
But
it.
let
We
me,
don't.
let me
have-
finish. I understand what you mean. You're right.
Yeah.
It can be done better when it comes to plastic. It can be done better when it comes to the environment, although it will never touch, for the environment, it will never be the way it is with plants, regardless.
No.
But at the end of the day, the exploitation of individuals is inherent in animal agriculture. You cannot
right.
have animal
You're right.
agriculture without exploiting animals. So that can never be improved. So the animals being exploited for something you don't need is always be an issue. That's why I talk about morality instead of talking about that. Because yeah, most people will be like, well, that's okay. I can eat 98% plant-based and 2% animal products. But if you do that, when you do that 2%, some innocent animals, some individuals will be exploited and slaughtered. And if you were in their shoes, you would be like, fuck no, I don't care if you eat 98%. Just don't kill me. Don't abuse me. Don't exploit me.
Sure, but I think it's also like is it good? Is the enemy of perfect, or like, or maybe the other way around?
Veganism
technically,
is not
right?
perfect.
Do you think? Would you prefer, all right, if you talk to 10 people, and those 10 people went on to eat 10% less meat, right? Like on average, right? Or you convinced one person to be 100% vegan.
Sure.
You would prefer? Sorry.
I don't know what to tell you. I don't go by those
It,
numbers.
it's not a gotcha or anything, but it's simple like impact there, right?
But I can't answer this question because I don't know how to answer this question. I'll be honest with you. I don't know like what is the impact. Like if you ask me of overall, do I prefer less animals are exploited? Of course, I prefer less animals are exploited and more animals are exploited. Whatever that entails in your scenario. But at the end of the day, I feel like we shouldn't be taking like numbers into this equation because we should be yet again considering that behind each number there's an individual. So while like let me put it in another injustice way, of course if we lived in a world where every man on this planet would slap women's asses or become or be a dick, I would of course rather everybody stopped 10% and women's asses would be or women would be more respected, of course. But like, you know, I still want no women's asses to be slapped. I still want women to be respected, just like I want animals to be respected. You see what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's like, yeah, I overall in the whole world, yeah, I want less animals to be exploited, but I wouldn't tell somebody to reduce by 10% because that would be disingenuous from my position. I don't think even one animal per year would be moral or nice. That's the whole point. What you choose to do with that with information, I can't police you going forward.
No, absolutely. I think being mindful is a big thing. You know, just having this discussion, even if you don't necessarily change someone's mind, is very important, right?
It's
you can bring up a
important,
lot of things, right, that people didn't know about things, right? And that change how they think, even in a subconscious way, right? So what you're doing out here is noble for the cause. For your
Yeah,
cause.
it's not about me though, by the way, it's about the animal. Let me put it this way. It's like, it is indeed important to have these conversations, but like imagine that again in the scenario that where every man slaps women's ass. I have these conversations with men,
Yeah.
and yes, it's important that they consider them, but the most important part is that they act on it, so that eventually we get to no more, you know, animals exploited. So, so the conversation is very important. You're right. It starts especially if you haven't had this type of conversation before. It starts something. It's important to think about it but the most important part is acting on it. That's why a lot of times when I have conversations with people, I tell them, okay, but like, because I'm going to give you some cards which essentially show you what animal agriculture does, and I just want you to at least get informed about that. But while you're doing that, I would urge you to go on a plant-based diet strictly because if you don't do that, in that meantime, you might change your mind after you actually see what they do, and you might think, why the fuck did I do that? That has happened to me. I'm like, why the hell didn't I go vegan sooner? I regret not being vegan earlier. It's really sad what we do to them. It's really, really bad. So it's not like what we imagine. Like I talk in relative terms, but the reality is very, very bad for them. Very bad. It's hard to explain just how bad it is because if you think hurting your knee over something is one thing, they use an electric thing to prod them to go into the slaughter.
No, you're absolutely right.
Like-
The treatment of these animals, like in particular, like I know your end goal would be none, but it's like almost like we need to have like another. There's like another on top, like what they're doing to them and how they're treated. Like
But the
it's
treatment-
especially cruel. Like it's on top. There's a difference between just like killing someone, right? And like holding them in your basement for like 20 years or something. Like we add like extra charges on that. The treatment of these animals is like bad.
Yeah.
Like in factory farms and everything. Like chickens, for example, are a really big one in cages and whatnot. Like that's like
Yeah.
it's like extra bad though.
But the treatment is a symptom of how we see animals, and that's why I want to tackle,
Yeah.
right? Because the treatment is a symptom of we seeing them as objects that we can just take advantage of. Like take for instance chickens that you mentioned. Chickens, even in the best farms, I've been to biological farms,
Yeah.
for example, which are arguably the best here in Europe, and a chicken can live up to 10 years. Do you know at what age they're killed at?
Probably 2.
42 days,
Oh really?
maybe 2 months in the best case scenario. It's insane.
What happens to them after that? For meat, or are they just like
For meat, yeah. The
okay.
reason why is that is because the minute that they grow to their maximum weight, they no longer have an incentive to keep them alive. They don't care if they're an individual who is enjoying their life.
would say,
they just
like-
want to use their body.
I'd say like in that argument, like in a way that's actually worse, right? Like this actually helps your cause. This animal, if it continued growing, like they keep growing, that animal's not having a good life. Like, which is messed up on our part because we altered them either through selective
Some of them
breeding or
grow
whatever.
too fast, yeah.
It will grow too fast. It will literally like suffer
Some
if it
of
lives
them-
beyond that
yeah,
day,
so-
which doesn't help my argument. That's 100% in like your way. Like this animal.
So on
it-
all
it's sort of-
chicken
yeah.
farms nowadays, they have this. A lot of these automated chicken farms have a robot that goes around and picks the dead chickens.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, there's a human being who comes and just takes the dead chickens and throws them away. Because you're right, some of them grow too fast because of how we selectively bred them. But there's a large portion of like it happens almost everywhere, regardless of how you treat, like how good the welfare is, right? And like one more thing that they're trying to do now in US is they're trying to grow bugs so that they can feed the chickens so that they can grow even faster,
Yeah.
so that they can kill them even faster. Like this is the like if we talk about welfare, when we started implementing better welfare, they just went around it. Free range is a welfare solution. What they did is they removed the cages, but they're still crammed up in a space.
Yeah.
Like all of this eventually ends up in the same scenario. The fact that we think we have the right to use animals however we please just because we have power over them. That's essentially it.
So one of the questions I'd have too, which I'm sure you've gotten before, is what would you say to someone who prioritizes, because in the world that we're living in right now, obviously like animal suffering is pretty huge. Human suffering is also like ridiculously huge.
Yeah.
Which isn't necessarily to diminish the animal side of things.
Yeah.
But what would you say to someone, because there are only so many causes you can really give it your all in
Yeah.
this short life of ours,
Yeah.
right? So what would you say to someone who would say prioritize the human suffering side of things over the animal suffering side of things?
So I understand what you mean. I'm not advocating for you being on the street like me to advocate for animals.
Sure.
That would be very cool if somebody wants to do that. But in that situation, then yeah, do what you think you want to fight for. I don't want to impose what I think is the thing you should fight for.
Sure.
But even those people that want to fight for human rights, they still have to eat. They still have to make choices of what they eat because nobody's forcing them to eat a certain thing. So when they're making their choices, I'm just telling them, choose the plant-based option. That's it. Choose the one that doesn't exploit an animal. You don't have to fight for the animals. Just don't be their oppressor. That's it. That's the bare minimum we can ask of them, right?
Fair enough.
Let me give you guys some cards because we had a
Sure,
long
sure,
conversation,
sure.
and I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
I appreciate. Oh, I only have one. Let me 1 second. Okay. Yeah. So I'll give you this one.
Thanks.
This one that they're not chosen or anything. So if you scan this QR code, there's a documentary called Dominion. That's the first thing that pops up. And the next one is the most important speech you'll ever hear. Can you guys promise me you'll watch one of these two, just to learn about animal agriculture a little
I'll
bit?
watch one.
You'll watch
I'll
one of them?
at
I
least one of
appreciate
them.
it.
I'll watch.
Yeah.
I'll screenshot
Okay,
it. So
okay. And if you decide that you don't want to be part of any of it, there's a thing there called Challenge 22. They hook you up with a nutritionist, they send you recipes every day, and they help you go vegan, all of it for free, okay? So you have everything that you need on that instance. You also have my social media, but I just want you to at least get informed. That's the most important
what's
part.
in the name? That chip guy.
My name is Chip, so so people should remember. Oh, I remember that Chip guy.
that Chip guy? That's
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
Yeah, well, fair enough. It was nice chatting with you.
Well, what's your name?
Bruce.
Bruce again, yes.
And I'm Luke.
Nice to
Bruce
meet
and
you.
Luke. Awesome. You guys are intelligent. I tell intelligent people you have more of a responsibility to act. You know?
You're right. We have mentioned like we do live in a society where it is not technically necessary, and like believe me, like a lot of the things, like the decisions I make, like, dude, I love my cars, and I recognize like I believe global warming is like a very big big deal and everything, right? Like there's a lot of causes out there.
But if you want to
right?
feel good about that, you reduce your carbon footprint by 75% by adopting a plant-based diet. 75%.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that feeds into it, right? The carbon footprint. If you're looking at this, like I'm 100% aware. Like I think I've agreed with just about everything you've said. Like I can't argue. They're facts that are at the very least like we're pretty sure of. Like
We
at
just
the
gotta-
absolute very
exactly.
very sure of.
We just
So,
got to act now, okay? Thank you,
yeah,
guys.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate the
Take care.
conversation.
Yeah,
Have a good one. Cheers. That's a good conversation, huh? I like the guys. Chip, ask them what's keeping you from going vegan. You were a little too nice to them, in my opinion. Reminded me a bit of Beavis and Butthead, says Keisha. Keisha, to be honest, I actually got a good feeling from both of them. You're right, maybe I should have been a bit stricter, but I was intentionally not strict because I felt like you saw I started a conversation with one of them and I ended up with another. I felt like they were impacted by I felt like they were impacted by the conversation. So I really want them to do like the thing about pushing people is that the most important part out of my activism is that people go further and do some research, that they look into it, because they're not going to make decisions based on their conversation with me. They're going to have to do that more than that. Arguing in chat, provide premise, conclusion, not meaningless statements. Think it's more interesting. Thank you for that tone. Oh, somebody's so everybody in the chat just keeps talking about themselves, what they want to do and how they feel about oppressing others. Listen, everybody, we understand. We know you like the products that you get out of being violent towards animals. We know you like all that, but you know what? That does not justify it. You know, a lot of people liked the products that came out of slavery, did not justify slavery. Hey, Marcos, nice to see you here. Yeah, we might end soon, but hi. Are you okay being live for my YouTube channel?
Yeah, Prashant.
What's your name? Prashant? Prashant? I'm Chip.
I'm from India.
India. Okay, so Prashant, I ask people, I'm an animal rights activist. I fight for the rights of animals. Do you think animals deserve rights?
Yes.
Okay, what rights do you think animals deserve?
They're all the rights whatever we are getting, right? All
Yeah.
the human rights are the same rights. So they have the rights to live.
Yeah, so they should have the right to live, right?
Yes.
Do you consume any animal products?
Not
No?
No.
Are you vegan?
not vegan, but I don't consume.
So you don't consume paneer or dairy products or stuff like that?
Oh, in that way, right? Yeah. Paneer products, yes. Milk products, yes.
Yeah.
So I'm not totally vegan, just partially vegan.
But do you know what happens to dairy cows, for example, for milk?
Not much.
Yeah, so why do you think they produce milk in the first place? Like biologically, why?
Biologically, that is for their children. Their kid
Exactly.
calves, right? Okay.
Yeah. So do you think that they get pregnant when they want to, or do you think farmers decide for them?
Come again?
Do you think that cows get pregnant when they want to, or do you think farmers decide when they get pregnant?
Farmers decide, right?
Yeah.
Farmers decide,
So
yeah.
farmers, they decide when they get pregnant. When the babies are born, what do you think they do to them?
So what I heard is, right, so they use their babies to produce more milk, to stimulate, right, to stimulate more milk, right? Okay.
Yeah. But the babies are not allowed to drink the milk because the milk has to go for human consumption.
Correct.
So they separate them from their mothers. And if they're born male, for example, they're useless to them because they don't produce any
Kill
milk.
them,
They
right?
kill them. And if they're female, every year, as you said, they impregnate them, they use their babies and use their milk. And at some point they kill them. Do you know when?
No idea.
So when they can no longer get them pregnant, they kill them. And that happens like at a third of their natural lifespan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So do you think is that respectful or nice towards the animals?
That is not respectful for the animal, but at the same time, right? At the same time, animals, they do serve the food side of human race as well, right? So if you cultivate in a large area, right? So that won't give you the enough proteins naturally, right? So for the
You can get protein from plant-based products. You can get enough protein from plant-based
no,
products.
no,
I'm
no.
a certified nutritionist. What exactly do you think? What protein are you missing from plant-based products?
I don't think so, right? So normally the major portion of that protein comes from my understanding. Okay, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, is from some of the proteins are coming from meat as well.
You can have protein from meat, of course, but you don't need to.
Okay.
So just like I could have protein from killing and eating humans or from killing and eating dogs, I could have protein from that, but I don't need to do any of that, right?
Okay.
So just like that, nowadays we have plant-based sources of protein. We have tofu, we have tempeh, we have soy, we have soy chunks, we have all these alternatives, which are also available in India, by the way.
Okay. Yep,
So if we have all of this, then obviously us choosing to impregnate an animal, take their babies and kill them, do all that, or us killing the animal directly and eat their flesh,
Okay.
isn't that wrong then?
Okay. Yeah, they have rights, right? They have rights.
Yeah.
But don't you think that these animals, they serve as a food for the humankind, right?
Well, I think that we put that purpose onto them, but that's unfair for us to do, right?
that is-
Imagine what the British did, for example, to the Indian people, right? They came and they put a purpose to the Indian people because they had power over the Indian people. That they put that purpose. I don't know a lot of history, by the way, so maybe I'm making
no.
a
My
mistake
question
there.
is, right? So, for example,
Yeah,
let's take this. People are living in those northern poles, right?
yeah.
So they can't cultivate anything there. Okay. Only.
But
this
how can they feed the animals then?
No. They're like these animals are serving food purpose, right? So majority of people.
But how do they feed the animals? How do they feed the animals?
No, especially fish and other things, right? Fish. Nobody see animals.
But we can talk about these people, right? Like I'm sure there's people in this world who have a difficult situation, right, of being vegan. But a lot of the times I don't want people to speak for them because I have met people in those areas, and I actually have met vegan people from those areas. So if they could do it, I'm sure that there's situations also
See,
there.
you
But
believe that?
it is situation dependent on that situation.
Correct. I understand. So, do you think that this human race can survive without even depending on any animal
Yeah.
for food purpose? You believe so?
100%, yeah. I mean, maybe in dire situation, you're stranded on a deserted island and you might need to fish or something. That's a different situation. And I'm not advocating for anybody to die of hunger. But yes, in the world we live in today, we have definitely enough resources to.
One
thrive
area, I
without.
guess, especially the food area, I don't know because, but one area, right, especially in the fashion industry, when I see the PETA videos, right, as PETA videos, definitely no.
But why is it bad to do that for fashion?
Because fashion you can avoid.
So
You can live without
because
that,
it's
but
optional, basically, right?
It's an optional.
Yeah.
But food I don't know because I don't know whether we'll be able to survive without animal this thing. I don't know. But fashion industry you can survive without.
But do you think, for example, you can survive without animal products?
I can survive.
Yeah.
I can survive.
So then you can make this choice. And for example, when you said like you consume paneer or milk products, then and you know that there's this cruelty happening behind them of this exploitation
See,
of animals.
when I realize that, right,
Yeah.
this type of cruelty happens, so you normally will have a aversion to use that one, right? So that is why I don't use any kind of leather products, right? And the sweaters.
But shouldn't that mean that going forward you should also no longer eat dairy products?
No, normally I don't use much dairy product because I have a lactose intolerance by default. Okay, so usually I don't use that.
But not at all,
much,
I
not-
mean,
I mean, so it's not zero.
Yeah.
Maybe gradually reduced to zero, right? So I don't.
But can I ask why? Because like if you know that there's cruelty behind it, if you go and buy one product, let's say your intention is to only buy this one product for the rest of your life, that when you buy that one product, you are supporting that system that exploited and slaughtered that animal, right?
I understand. So you're advocating for any organization or anything like that?
No, I'm all alone. I don't have any financial incentive in the game. I just want people to acknowledge that what they're doing is something cruel to animals, and for them, I want to help them change to stop. You know.
Good intention. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Nice talking to you. Nice.
Let me give you a card before you
No,
go,
yeah, sure,
and
sure.
I'll ask you one difficult question. Okay.
Yes.
So how many more animals should be exploited for you until you change?
Very good question. I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
What is it that you want?
No. See, the thing is, right, is we need to change, right? So we need to change. So for example, I'm 47. So for these years, right, directly or indirectly we were using that one. So now onwards, maybe what I will do is every time when I consume something, maybe dairy products or something, I will start thinking.
Oh,
When
but
I-
is
no.
that fair? Like imagine this. Imagine that
Or
we get
otherwise,
some
right.
products by
No, no, one
exploiting
second.
people, and then I say, well, every time I buy this product and people are exploited for it, I'm gonna start thinking about that.
Oh, correct. See, because otherwise, right, you cannot have a catalog every time, right? Even,
Yeah.
whether this is exploiting or something. No, you cannot. See, then the same T-shirt you are wearing, maybe some children might be.
Actually
working-
not. I can
right?
show you. It's
No,
not. No, it's
I'm just
ethical.
telling an
It's
example.
ethical.
I'm just
Yeah.
telling an example,
Yeah.
right? So we don't know. So if you know
Yeah,
that,
but there's a difference. You know for a fact that an animal product, an animal was exploited for it. There's no way around it. Like you're right, with a T-shirt, you have no way of knowing,
No.
and you can think about it and look into it. But with an animal product, 100% sure, one animal was exploited for it.
correct.
There's no way
See,
to
for
avoid
example,
it.
so in
Yeah.
that way, right? So, for example, in medicine.
Yeah.
Medicine. Now you are sure that how that medicine testing is done, right? Medicine
Yeah.
testing is done everywhere. In order to live, you need to survive. You need to exploit something. So, for example,
Not necessarily, no.
no, 1 second. If you put a light, right? So there are so many nocturnal creatures in this nature. You are disturbing them. When you are making noise, you are exploiting them.
But can you choose
And
something
one
else?
more thing, when you decide to cultivate kilometers of the land with a single crop, monocrop, this thing, right?
Yeah.
You are creating an imbalance to the nature. So 100% without exploiting nature, we cannot survive. Human race cannot survive.
But I'm not talking about exploiting in the sense of taking resources. I'm talking about exploiting individuals, exploiting sentient individuals, individuals who can feel, who can think, individuals who are just like us. Like a cow can feel, that has emotions, they can think.
I understand. I understand. Everything's right. Everything in this world, especially every plant.
But let's not appeal to futility or have a nirvana fallacy. Like if we say it's futile to do anything, then we won't go on improving this world in any other way. If we say, well, this isn't perfect, therefore I won't adopt it, yet again, we won't improve on anything, right? So we can't go down this path where we keep on trying to find reasons to continue doing it. The reality is you have the choice to not exploit an animal, and you can always choose to not exploit an animal.
Correct. Yeah, see, I agree that. But at the same time, we cannot 100% stop that as well, right? Why I'm
You
telling,
can.
No, why I'm telling that one, right?
But you can.
The moment you do the agriculture, right?
Yeah.
From this, if you take the history of human race, right? The moment you start agriculture, if you plant something, it is against nature.
But I'm not.
And-
Well, again, it's
so-
about
so-
individuals.
it
It's
is-
not
it is-
about
it is
like
a-
how does that justify cutting the throat of a cow?
No. Agree. I'm not. What I'm trying to say is, it is not a. You cannot keep that in a binary answer. Yes, no.
It is to them. To the animal, it's pretty binary. It's you either pay for them to go into a slaughterhouse or not.
See,
You either pay
See,
to exploit them or not. There's no middle ground for them. For you, there is a lot of middle ground.
Yeah.
For you, you can feel good about exploiting less animals than more, sure.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, those animals, for them, it's black and white. You chose to exploit them, they will die. You chose to bring them to life only to kill them. That's what will happen to them. There's no middle ground for them. There's no, oh, he did it halfway, therefore I will no longer be exploited. They will be exploited if you pay for an animal product.
yeah. See, that is true. The only thing we can do is like we can think through that whenever we are. 1 second. 1 second. Getting a call. Hello.
This will be the last conversation, everybody. Chip, tell him to watch Makadut. That's why I was planning Martin. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry for that.
No worries.
Give
Let me
me
give
your
you a card. Yeah.
Yes,
So
thank you.
you have this card. Do you speak Hindi?
Yeah.
So there's a documentary specially made for India. It's called Makadut. It's like mother.
Makadut.
Yeah, it's like mother's milk translated. I urge you to watch that just to understand about the dairy practices in India.
Okay. Let me see that. Okay.
I don't know if it's here though. I don't think it's in this one. But if you use YouTube or something and
Movies
Google,
to debut.
Yeah.
Understand that. Your name?
My name is Chip. Chip, like it says that Chip guy. I'm Chip.
Oh, real ship guy.
Yeah.
Where is my scanner?
But you can take the card with you. It's okay.
Okay.
You don't have to do it.
Okay,
that.
okay.
I appreciate you having this conversation with me.
Sure. Thank you so
Let's,
much.
let's be fair to animals.
yeah.
That's all it is. Okay. We can
Thank
make
you.
better choices. And
Yeah.
when we make a choice where it inflicts on their choice, that's what I'm saying. Let's not do that. Okay.
Understood. Understood. Let me think through. So anyway, you have given me something to think.
I appreciate that.
Thank you. so much.
Makaduth. Okay.
Oh, Makaduth.
Okay.
1 second.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah.
Let me add that to note, okay, so that I can watch it. Makaduth.
Yeah, that's it. Cheers. I appreciate it. Have a good one. Okay, everybody, that's it. We're done. We're not that I don't want to stay for longer. I can not stay for longer because we're gonna be doing a We the Free event. Oh, that was a good one. You know what, Martin? I think I might need to create a page especially for Indians, with the Indian activists and everything. Somebody says, I get you guys are mad, but I grew up eating this stuff. We're not mad, man. We're trying to respect the rights of animals. We all grew up eating this. We all were in a system that everybody consumes it. Just, think about it. If it's wrong to do this to animals, you can make different choices. And if you're having a difficulty, you don't know how to do it, how to adopt a plant-based diet, for example, that's okay. We have help for you. It's called Challenge 22. It's in the link of this it's in the description of this stream. It's called Challenge 22. They hook you up with a nutritionist, they send you recipes every day and help you adopt a plant-based diet. And all of it for free. How can it be wrong when it feels so right? Well, Jimmy, the same motivation a rapist could say. How can rape be wrong when it feels so right? To them, it feels right. To the victim, it doesn't. To you, it feels right. To the animal victim, it doesn't. You see, it's not just about you. It's also about the other individuals involved in that action, okay? Let's think for a second. Marcos, vegan forever. Marcos, you are awesome. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna sit with you guys until somebody comes from We the Free, and then I'll drop you. I'm not a coward. I'm vegan. 11 years vegan. 11 years of not hurting others. Simple, really. Says Vegan V. That's awesome. Okay, I see somebody came. I will drop you then. Marcella's also here. Hello, Marcellus. Okay, everybody. I will see you in the next one. We're gonna do a We the Free event now. I will see you in the next one. I don't know yet when, but I really want the next one to be something where we kind of chill, or be a little bit more aloof, watch some videos or something. So yeah, that's what we'll do. If you're enjoying the stream, like, subscribe, do all that beautiful thing. I gotta give a shout out still to Draculum. He was the first one, super fast, and I think, am I mistaken to say that Tone was the second? Not 100% sure, but Draculum was the winner, always the winner. We gotta beat Draculum, everybody. This is no longer the channel for vegans. This is the channel to beat Draculum. I'm kidding. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. See you in the next one. And as I think it's either Tuesday or Wednesday, and we're gonna be doing a chill session where we, watch some videos and, watch some things. I'm pretty tired today because of the heat, but it's gonna get better the next days, and I'm gonna be better. So yeah, thank you so much, everybody. Have an awesome day. I'll see you in the next one. Don't stress about it. We'll do it. And do some outreach. Oh, and if you're not vegan, 3-minute video. Okay, 3-minute video. There's a 3-minute video in the description of this stream. See what that is about. Marcos, thank you so much, Marcos. I appreciate you. That is awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're done. Have an awesome day, everybody. Be vegan. If you want to respect animals, be vegan. If you don't want to respect animals, think about why you wouldn't want to respect animals, but you would want to respect humans. There's some inconsistency there in your view. And if you really want to know what animals go through, as I said, there's a 3-minute video in the description of this stream. Give that a watch. It takes 3 minutes of your time. Marcos, I appreciate you so much. And thank you for everybody else who donated. I appreciate you. Thank you for all the moderators. Thank you for the whole community making this amazing community. I see all the activists are here, so I'm gonna go meet with them and start doing some activism. Have an awesome